Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine. So today I've got another Gilmore Girls video for you, and in case you're new here or you don't already know, I am in the middle of creating a Gilmore Girls save file on this channel. So I've got absolutely loads of videos of me recreating characters and builds from the show, and I've made it into a playlist, so I'll link that in the video and down in the description below in case you're interested in checking that out. But today we are creating several shops from the show. You can see here I'm making Andrew's bookstore to begin with, and then I go on to make the cat shop or the cat club, and then I think I make the beauty store, the video store, and the music shop as well. And I kind of leave out the upstairs apartments, or what would be apartments, of all of these builds. They're all on one lot, by the way, and they're also on the same lot as Dosie's market. And I also have left that area in between Andrew's bookshop and Dosie's market blank, which you can kind of see flashing in the screen at the minute. But because I've kind of filled in the main shops that we're familiar with in the series, I may or may not fill in the rest of this lot and other sort of loose ends to the save file on Twitch or in a stream at some point. I'll update you if that happens and when that happens, in case you guys are interested in having any input to the save file, because that might be quite nice. I feel like if I create, you know, all of the main characters and builds on YouTube, and then if you guys have any suggestions as to how I make any edits to those builds, you know, if any details that I've missed maybe to the characters as well, and maybe any sort of smaller characters that you like that aren't necessarily popular enough to do well on a YouTube video, maybe I could make them in a stream instead, and that way you guys can have an input and enjoy talking about Gilmore Girls with me, but without me necessarily having a whole video on it on YouTube. So yeah, let me know what you think of that idea down below in the comments. Andrew's bookstore was a bit of a quick one. You can see I just kind of made it pretty quickly, and we only see it once or twice in the show, I think. I think the episode that I used as reference for that one was actually when Christopher first comes to Stars Hollow and he buys the dictionary for Rory, or fails to buy the dictionary because his credit card fails, bless him. But yeah, so I used that one as reference, but I know that she eventually gets a job in Andrew's bookstore when she's studying in Yale, I think. So those are the episodes that I remember, and I particularly enjoyed the episode with Christopher because that's the episode that the whole town meets Christopher for the first time, and there's a moment where I think it's Jackson is telling the whole town, like gossiping behind their back about what Christopher looks like, you know, basically his first impressions of him. And then Rory and Christopher walk in on him telling the whole town about him, and it's just really awkward and funny, and then he just runs away out of embarrassment. And I've never related to Jackson more, honestly. That is so cringe. It's absolutely something that would happen to me because I'm just an awkward bean. But yeah, you can see that I'm now moving on to the exterior of some of the other shops, and I think I actually lost the footage of me changing the exterior of the music shop, Sophie's music shop. So you can see now that I've got the Discover University like columns and windows and stuff, but I think I changed, well, I changed it to different Discover University windows. They end up matching the other windows that you can see in the buildings next to the shops. So keep an eye out for that in the screenshots, because that will change. It just wasn't working for me. I feel like I was trying to make it as much like the program as possible, the aesthetic, but it just wasn't working in terms of matching the general vibe of the other shops, and it just was looking a bit weird because we didn't quite have the right shape and style of any of the windows and stuff like that. So yeah, I just ended up giving up trying to recreate it accurately and just went with something that looked good and was vaguely the same colour scheme and shape building. So I hope that's okay with you. I think it turns out a bit better. So yeah, and I end up editing the exterior of the cat club quite a lot because at the minute it's quite white and it's quite like pale, but I turn it into this darker brown, and then there's a lot of green detailing around the windows and stuff like that in the actual build in the show, so I add that in later, which you'll see me do. And then the red building that you'll see me make is the video shop, and the pale one next to it is the beauty shop. So we see the beauty store in the episode where Lane dyes her hair. We also see it in the episode where Lorelai organises April's birthday party, which, you know, talking about April absolutely triggers me because because I can't watch the season where she comes into the series because she just absolutely ruins Lorelai's relationship with Luke. I mean, it's not her fault, you know, but she's just, she's a little bit annoying as well. I do find her annoying as a character, probably because her existence ruins, you know, the romance between my two favourite characters, but I'm sure I'll get over it. So you can see I really enjoyed adding a load of detailing to the windows of the cat shop as well. So you can see me add loads of decals, little cat and paw decals to the window, and I thought that was a cute little detail. But yeah, in terms of the interior, I tried to make it like a cozy, warm, granny style of of interior. I don't think we ever see inside the cat club, correct me if I'm wrong, we may well do, but I don't remember an episode where we see inside the cat club. So I just went with a colour scheme that suited the colours that I had used for the exterior of the build, and also just the general vibe of what a cat shop would look like for me, and all of the cat objects that we have in game as well. I just tried to match that as much as I possibly could. In case you're wondering where on earth I got the idea to make a cat shop from, it's actually referenced in the episodes where Luke buys gifts for both April and Rachel as well. I think he buys Rachel pot holders, whatever they are. I assume he means like teapot holders, but maybe Americans use them for different types of pots because they don't drink as much tea. I don't know, maybe a coffee pot, but shaped like a cat. So he buys these cat-shaped pot holders as a and bearing in mind that Rachel is his girlfriend, and obviously he at that point cares very much about Rachel, so it should really be a meaningful gift, but he ends up buying her these really weird cheap cat items, God knows why. Bless him, he's so sweet. And then the other episode is obviously when he buys a gift for April and he buys her cat themed toiletries, and I just find it so funny that Luke buys a load of cat themed presents for all the girls in his life. And I saw a post on Reddit not too long ago saying that would have been great if we had seen more gifts that Luke had gotten to Lorelai and Rory over the years, and whether or not they were just all cat themed, because he clearly gets all of his gifts for women from this cat shop, so that made me laugh. But now you can see I'm going on to the interior of the beauty shop, and like I said, we saw this in the episode where Lane dyes her hair, and I actually really hate that episode because Rory is really rude to Jess's girlfriend, who's the girl who works behind the till in this shop, and I think Rory looks down on her because she thinks she's a bit dumb. And this girl has done absolutely nothing wrong to Rory. All she does is upset Rory because her and Jess publicly kiss quite a lot, which is, you know, I mean, that's just what teenagers do. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a bit gross to have to watch. It's a bit too much PDA, but when teenagers are in love, that's what they're gonna do. But yeah, Rory just says that she's stupid and that she ends up being really horrible to this poor girl because, you know, she's a bit dumb on the phone to Jess. She has a massive meltdown in this shop and has a go at this poor girl, and I don't know, I feel like Rory should be smarter than that. She should have more sense. She's a smart girl, and I think at this point she's actually dating Dean as well, so just get a grip, Rory, honestly. Maybe she's not, I don't know. But anyway, the interior for this build is very pink, very girly, and you'll notice that I've created little areas for displays. I haven't done the screenshots yet, and I may end up adding in some clothes to the mannequins in the displays just to make it a little bit less weird, because at the minute they're just naked in the shop front. But yeah, in the build, in the series itself, they do have, I'm assuming that in the windows they're displaying like makeup and accessories and things like that they actually sell in the shop, and that's why they're there. But in the reference episodes that I was watching, they had like mannequins in the windows, so that's why they're there. So I've tried to replicate that as best I could, and then you can just see me placing a load and load of clutter items, as many as I could find relating to beauty. And just to avoid confusion, you'll see me in a minute add some gifts to the bottom of the shelves, and I figured that it's quite common for beauty shops to have products and toiletries and stuff like that wrapped up in preset gifts, like for someone's birthday or a Christmas present, because it's quite a common gift to give a woman, or, you know, anyone, isn't it? Especially at Christmas time, to give them toiletries, I think. Maybe Luke should have just come to this shop, but maybe he was scared of the pink decor, who knows. He's much more comfortable around cat decor, clearly. But yeah, that was my logic behind the gifts. So in case you're thinking like, why are there just Christmas presents on the bottom shelf, that's why. And then I did a cute little thing. Well, I think it's cute. You might think it's stupid, but I sized up these debug baskets and then I put a load of clutter items in the baskets. I thought that was something you definitely find in a shop like this, like a pick and mix type display of beauty items. But in case you were interested, which you're probably not, but I'm gonna tell you anyway, I have just started rewatching Gilmore Girls. I kind of put it off for a while because like I said before in another video, I've just finished watching Heartland, which took me, literally, I started Heartland in March and there were like 13 seasons and each season had, you know, like 20 episodes each of them 45 minutes long. So it took me a while to binge my way through that series, and I was a bit heartbroken once that was over. I had this massive gap in my life. I was like, what do I fill this gap with? I can't just fill it with Sims videos because I already consume so much Sims content. I'll just break. It's physically impossible. So for a while I tried to tie myself over by starting When Calls the Heart, because that seemed like a short series and I didn't think I would like it as much as I ended up liking it. Actually, I really liked that series and got quite invested, but I finished that now, and now I have started watching Gilmore Girls, which is basically an inevitable thing to happen every autumn of the year. So I don't know why I don't know why I fought it, because basically I was so emotional after Heartland finished because I got so attached to these characters, and particularly my favourite character Lou, her romance with the guy that I want her to end up with sort of ended on a cliffhanger and I just couldn't handle it at all. I, you know, had a bit of a breakdown, and then it made me really, really sad. I've been in a bit, I don't know if anyone else is like this, but if you finish a series you really, really care about, do you get a bit low because you feel like a big part of your world has suddenly just disappeared? And, you know, especially when there's no closure like I was feeling, I just felt so immensely sad that I no longer had Heartland in my life to cheer me up, especially at a time like now. I've been using it, you know, like I said, since the very start of lockdown to make me feel happy, to make me feel light-hearted. That is usually why I use Gilmore Girls as a coping mechanism for if anything horrible is going on in my life, I turn to Gilmore Girls. And the same thing happens every time I finish Gilmore Girls as well. I get into a bit of a post Gilmore Girls slump. So I was hesitant to start again, but it's happened. The cycle has begun. So let me know if that's just me being totally weird and obsessed with TV programs, and if no one else feels the same way, that's fine. But that is definitely something that I struggle with. But now you can see that I am decorating the interior of the cat club, and like I said, we haven't really seen this as far as I know in the series itself, so I was just guessing. I put some what I call granny wallpaper on the walls and granny furniture, which I love. I am totally into the granny aesthetic. It is definitely my vibe, so I think I change it up quite a lot. And stick around for the screenshots because I may even change what it looks like at the end of the speed build from what the screenshots look like. I think I changed the wallpaper and just a few details like of the colours of curtains and stuff like that. So yeah, I was definitely going back and forth a lot throughout quite a few places in this build, particularly this one, because I don't know, I feel like we don't have very much choice, or at least very much good choice in terms of more traditional wallpapers and things like that. I think modern is more of a popular aesthetic, so The Sims tends to focus on that generally when they release packs and new items, and we've only seen a few traditional packs like Vampires and Realm of Magic, and within those packs all of the wood tones and colours tend to be more, I don't know, like magical, like they're trying to make them creepy because they're in a pack relating to a cult rather than in a pack that's to do with a theme that's more relating to an actual home. So yeah, I feel like Vampires in particular has quite a lot of horrible coloured wallpapers that they're good for like a vampire house, but there's only a couple that I would use in a non-vampire house setting, whereas the patterns on the wallpapers themselves I really, really like. like, they just don't go with much. So yeah, I kept going back and forth and I changed a lot of the furniture. It was hard not having a room to copy because, you know, when I'm recreating these Stars Hollow builds, I kind of like the excuse of, oh, okay, well, it looks like that because that's what it looks like in the show, and if it looks bad, then it's not my fault, it's just the show's fault. But yeah, this was all me, so I was being extra fussy because of it, I think. So in terms of the content of the shop then, this is the only build I think that I use the upstairs for in the whole of the lot, because there's obviously several shops on this one lot, but this shop is both downstairs and upstairs, and I use a lot of cat toys and cat trees and litter boxes and things like that, but then I also add a load of cat objects. The only cat objects we have are like toys and statues. Obviously in the show we see Luke buy these normal everyday objects with cat patterns on them, which we don't really have in the Sims 4, so I kind of put a few toiletries here and there, but because they weren't specifically cat related in the Sims 4, I kept them to a minimum. I just added a load of cats and dogs items, basically sized up and sized down to give them a bit of variety, so you can see me add a whole load of them. So it gets a bit repetitive, but I think it's okay. There's enough variety in terms of the swatches and different types of objects. And then you'll eventually see me move on to start working on the video store and the music store, like I said. So in terms of the video store, the only episode, or maybe we see it in more, but the only episode that I remembered seeing the video store in was the episode where Rory recommends to Kirk that he put some of the more risky movies on like a higher shelf or something like that to prevent kids from looking at them, because when she goes in there, there's two kids on the floor giggling at this film with a naked lady or half naked lady on the cover. And because of that, because she says that to Kirk, Taylor goes a bit crazy and ends up putting half of the contents of the video shop behind a red curtain in a separate, like, I can't remember what it's called, it's like the Rory room or the Rory curtain in this shop, so that half of the contents is missing from the actual main area in the shop and it's all behind this curtain, which is quite funny. It's quite a funny episode, and it was really tricky to make actually, because we don't actually have any video objects in The Sims. Obviously videos don't really exist anymore, we have DVDs now. So what I did was I just placed a load of disc items that we got with Get Famous, I think it was. Yeah, I just placed them all over the shop. I couldn't think of another object that would look like videos. Let me know down in the comments if you are too young to ever remember using a video, because that will depress me. I will feel very old if you tell me that. But I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that can say that they've never used a video or VCR, whatever it's called, before. I remember using them when I was very young. I remember my first DVD. I was like, what is this? It's a disc? What? We can't watch this. How does that work? We used to rent out films. I know, shock horror. We don't just have films on the internet. We used to actually go into a shop and rent them from videotapes, and then after that from DVDs. What's a DVD? They don't really exist anymore, do they? I'll stop, sorry. So you can see me now making the music shop. So we see this quite a lot throughout the show, the music shop. This is obviously where Lane decides she wants to play the drums and she starts her band because of it. So it's a big deal, this shop, I think, for her, and Lane's one of my favourite characters, so I love that. Fun fact, by the way, when I was googling episodes for research for this, I found out that the actress who plays Sophie, she actually sang the theme tune of the show Where You Lead, and they requested that she come back and record the song with her daughter, so they sang it together specifically for the series, and I thought that was so cute. I think my friend may have told me half of that story not too long ago, but I didn't know that that was the actor who sang the song. So fun fact, if you hadn't known that already, let me know down in the comments. But yes, so a couple of details in this shop. So I added a separate room specifically as a reference to the room that Lane finds Zach playing, I think in his banjo band or something like that. He has this secret banjo band, doesn't he? And he's too embarrassed to tell Lane, and she thinks that he's cheating on her or something like that because he's being really secretive and not telling her things, and it turns out he's just embarrassed to tell her that he likes playing bluegrass and that he's been playing in this bluegrass band in this room in the music shop. Oh yeah, that's it. Lane thinks that he's sleeping with Sophie and cheating on her, sleeping with Sophie, which is so silly, bless her. But no, he's actually just playing in this bluegrass band and she's letting him rehearse in her shop to keep it a secret. So yeah, I added a specific room. You'll see me add that last. I think I do that last, but that's where the archway is, and I just turned that into a small rehearsal space, and I added like coffee makers and small, you know, chairs, and then I turned that into a hallway with some stairs into some upstairs apartments, because even though I didn't decorate any of the upstairs like I said in this video, I wanted to sort of leave the option open for me to eventually fill in the blanks at a later date. So this build is on the gallery as it is at the minute. If you're interested, I'll leave my gallery information down below if you want to go and download it. I don't think it's not got any CC in it, and none of my builds ever do really. But we're coming up to the end of the video now, so I hope you liked it. I hope you had fun remembering all of these different shops and scenes from the show. I always love these videos talking about Gilmore Girls, especially now that I'm rewatching it. I'm thinking of all these things to say in future videos and things that I could have said in past videos that I'm like regretting not saying now. So maybe I'll add them in just randomly in videos that I make. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think. If you liked it, please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I make these Gilmore Girls videos on a Saturday. I'm probably going to not necessarily make them every Saturday from now on, because I'm so busy with work and everything that it's hard to keep up to that schedule. But I'll do my absolute best for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!